Bhagwat Gita, Thursday. We will read 100 verses today. There are 700 verses in Bhagwat Gita. Read 100 verses daily to memorize complete Bhagwat Gita in 1 week. 21 verse. Whatever celestial form a devotee craving for some worldly objects chooses to worship with reverence, I stabilize the faith of that particular devotee in that very form. Endowed with such faith, he worships that particular deity and obtains through that deity without doubt his desired enjoyments as ordained by me. The fruit gained by these people of small understanding, however, is perishable. The worshippers of gods attain the gods, whereas my devotees, howsoever they worship me, eventually come to me and me alone. Not knowing my supreme nature, unsurpassable and undecaying, the ignorant persons regard me, who am the supreme spirit beyond the reach of mind and senses, and the embodiment of truth, knowledge, and bliss, to have assumed a finite form through birth as an ordinary human being. Veiled by my Yog Maya divine potency, I am not manifest to all. Hence, these ignorant folk fail to recognize me, the birthless and imperishable supreme deity, that is, consider me as subject to birth and death. Arjun, I know all beings, past as well as present, nay, even those that are yet to come, but none devoid of faith and devotion knows me. O valiant Arjun, through delusion in the shape of pairs of opposites, such as pleasure and pain, both of desires and aversion, all living creatures in this world are failing, falling a prey to infatuation. But those men of virtuous deeds whose sins have come to an end, being freed from delusion in the shape of pairs of opposites, born of attraction and repulsion, worship me with a firm resolve in every way. They who, having taken refuge in me, strive for deliverance from old age and death, know Brahma, the Absolute, the whole Adhyatma, the totality of jivas or embodied souls, and the entire field of karma, action, as well as my integral being, comprising Adibhut, the field of matter, Adidev, Brahma, and Adiyagna, the unmanifest divinity dwelling in the heart of all beings as their witness. And they who, possessed of a steadfast mind, know thus, even at the hour of death, they too know me alone. Thus, in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of Yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the seventh chapter entitled The Yoga of Dhyan, knowledge of Nirgun Brahma, and Vigyan, knowledge of manifest divinity. Chapter 8. Arjun said, Krishna, what is that Brahma, absolute? What is Adhyatma, spirit? And what is Karma, action? What is called Adibhuta, matter? And what is termed as Adidev, divine intelligence? Krishna, who is Adiyagna here? And how does he dwell in the body? And how are you to be realized at the time of death by those of a steadfast mind? Sri Bhagwan said, the supreme indestructible is Brahma, one's own self. The individual soul is called Adhyatma, and the discharge of the spirits, Visarga, which brings forth the existence of being, is called Karma, action. All perishable objects are Adibhut. The shining Purush, Brahma, is Adidev, and in this body, I, myself, dwelling as the inner witness, am Adiyagna, O Arjuna. He who departs from the body thinking of me alone, even at the time of death, attains my state. There is no doubt about it. Arjun, thinking of whatever entity one leaves the body at the time of death, that and that alone one attains, being ever absorbed in its thought. Therefore, Arjun, think of me at all times and fight, with mind and reason thus set on me. you will doubtless come to me, Arjun. He who with his mind disciplined through yoga in the form of practice of meditation and thinking of nothing else is constantly engaged in contemplation of God, attains the supremely effulgent divine Purush. He who contemplates on the all knowing, ageless, being the ruler of all, subtler than the subtle, the universal sustainer, possessing a form beyond human conception, effulgent like the sun, and far beyond the darkness of ignorance, having, by the power of yoga, firmly held the life breath in the space between the two eyebrows, even at the time of death, and then contemplating on God with a steadfast mind, full of devotion, he reaches verily that supreme divine Purush. I shall tell you briefly about that supreme goal, which is God, who is an embodiment of truth, knowledge, and bliss, which the knowers of the Veda term as the indestructible, which striving recluses, free from passion, merge into and desiring, which the celibates practice brahmacharya. Having controlled all the senses and firmly holding the mind in the heart, and then drawing the life breath to the head, and thus remaining steadfast in yogic concentration on God, he who leaves the body and departs, uttering the one indestructible Brahma, Om, and dwelling on me in my absolute aspect, reaches the supreme goal. Arjun, whosoever always and constantly thinks of me with undivided mind, to that yogi, ever absorbed in me, I am easily attainable. Great souls who have attained the highest perfection, having come to me, are no more subject to rebirth, which is the abode of sorrow and transient by nature. Arjun, all the worlds from Brahmalok, the heavenly realm of the creator Brahma, downwards are liable to birth and rebirth. But, O son of Kunti, on attaining me, there is no rebirth. For while I am beyond time, regions like Brahmalok, being conditioned by time, are transitory. Those yogis who know from realization Brahma's day as covering 1,000 Mahayugas, and so his night as extending to another 1,000 Mahayugas, know the reality about time. All embodied beings emanate from the unmanifest, that is, Brahma's subtle body, at the coming of the cosmic day, at the cosmic nightfall. They merge into the same subtle body of Brahma, known as the unmanifest. Arjun, this multitude of beings, being born again and again, is dissolved under compulsion of its nature at the coming of the cosmic night and rises again at the commencement of the cosmic day. Far beyond even this unmanifest, there is yet another unmanifest existence, that supreme divine person who does not perish, even though all beings perish. The same unmanifest which has been spoken of as the indestructible is also called the supreme goal. That again is my supreme abode, attaining which they return not to this mortal world. Arjun, that eternal unmanifest supreme Purush, in whom all beings reside and by whom all this is pervaded, is attainable only through exclusive devotion. Arjun, I shall now tell you the time, path, departing when yogis do not return, and also the time or path departing when they do return. Of the two paths, the one is that in which are stationed the all effulgent fire god and the deities presiding over daylight, the bright fortnight and the 6 months of the northward courses of the sun, respectively, proceeding along it after death. Yogis who have known Brahma, being successfully led by the above gods, finally reach Brahma. The other path is that wherein are stationed the gods presiding over smoke, night, the dark fortnight, and the 6 months of the southward courses of the sun. The yogi, devoted to action with an interested motive, taking to this path after death, is led by the above gods, one after another, and attaining the lustre of the moon, and enjoying the fruits of his meritorious deeds in heaven, returns to this mortal world. For these two paths of the world, the bright and the dark, are considered to be eternal. Proceeding by one of them, one reaches the supreme state from which there is no return, and proceeding by the other, one returns to the mortal world, that is, becomes subject to birth and death once more. Knowing thus the secret of these two paths, O son of Kunti, no yogi gets deluded. Therefore, Arjun, at all times be steadfast in yoga in the form of equanimity. Strive constantly for my realization. The yogi, realizing this profound truth, doubtless transcends all the rewards enumerated for the study of the Vedas as well as for the performance of sacrifice, austerities, and charities, and attains the supreme and primal state. Thus, in the Upanishads sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of Yoga, the dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the eighth chapter entitled The Yoga of the Indestructible Brahma. Chapter 9. Sri Bhagwan said, to you who are devoid of the carping spirit, I shall now unfold the most secret knowledge of Nirguna Brahma, along with the knowledge of manifest divinity, knowing which you shall be free from the evil of worldly existence. This knowledge of both the Nirgun and the Sagun aspects of divinity is a sovereign science, a sovereign secret, supremely holy, most excellent, directly enjoyable, attended with virtue, very easy to practice, and imperishable. Arjun, people having no faith in this dharma, failing to reach me, continue to revolve in the path of the world of birth and death. The whole of this universe is permeated by me as an unmanifest divinity, and all beings dwell on the idea within me. But really speaking, I am not present in them. And all those beings abide not in me, but behold the wonderful power of my divine Lord. Through the sustainer and the creator of beings, myself in reality dwell not in those beings. Just as the extensive air, which is moving everywhere, being born of ether, ever remains in ether, likewise, know that all beings who have originated from my Sankalp abide in me. Arjun, during the final dissolution, all beings enter my Prakriti, the prime cause, and at the beginning of the creation, I send them forth again. Wielding my nature, I procreate again and again according to the respective karmas. All this multitude of beings subject to the influence of their own nature. Arjun, those actions, however, do not bind me unattached as I am to such actions and standing apart, as it were. Arjun, under my aegis, nature brings forth the whole creation, consisting of both sentient and insentient beings. It is due to this cause that the wheel of sansar is going round. Not knowing my supreme nature, fools deride me, the overlord of the entire creation, who have assumed the human form. That is to say, they take me, who have appeared in human form through my Yog Maya, for deliverance of the world as an ordinary mortal. Those bewildered persons with vain hopes, futile actions, and fruitless knowledge have embraced a fiendish, demonical, and delusive nature. On the other hand, Arjun, great souls who have adopted the divine nature, knowing me as the prime source of all beings and the imperishable eternal, worship me constantly with one pointedness of mind, constantly chanting my names and glories and striving for my realization, and bowing again and again to me, those devotees of firm resolve, ever united with me through meditation, worship me with single minded devotion. Others who follow the path of knowledge betake themselves to me through yajna of knowledge, worshipping me in my absolute formless aspect as one with themselves, while still others worship me in my universal form in many ways, taking me to be diverse in manifold celestial forms. I am the Vedic ritual. I am the sacrifice. I am the offering to the departed. I am the herbage and food grains. I am the sacred mantra. I am the clarified butter. I am the sacred fire. And I am the verily the act of offering oblations into the fire. I am the sustainer and ruler of this universe, its father, mother, and grandmother, the one worth knowing, the purifier, the sacred syllable Om, and the three Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda. I am the supreme goal, sustainer, Lord, witness, abode, refuge, well-wisher, seeking no return, origin and end, resting place, storehouse to which all beings return at the time of universal destruction, and the imperishable sea. I radiate heat as the sun and hold back as well as send forth showers. Arjun, I am immortality as well as death. Even so, I am being and also non being. Those who perform action with some interested motive, as laid down in these three Vedas, and drink the sap of the Soma plant, and have thus been purged of sin, worshipping me through sacrifices, seek across to heaven, attaining Indra's paradise. As the result of their virtuous deeds, they enjoy the celestial pleasures of gods in heaven. Having enjoyed the extensive heaven world, they return to this world of mortals on the stock of their merits, being exhausted, thus devoted to the ritual with interested motive, recommended by the three Vedas as the means of attaining heavenly bliss, and seeking worldly enjoyments, they repeatedly come and go, that is, ascend to heaven by virtue of their merits, and return to earth when their fruit has been enjoyed. The devotee, however, who loving no one else constantly think of me and worship me in a disinterested spirit, to those ever united in thought with me, I bring full security and personally attend to their needs. Arjun, even those devotees who endowed with faith worship other gods with some interested motive, worship me alone through with a though with a mistaken approach, for I am the enjoyer and also the Lord of all sacrifices. But they who do not know me in reality as the supreme deity, they fall, that is, return to life on earth. Those who are votaries of God go to gods, those who are votaries of mains reach the mains, those who adore the spirits reach the spirits, and those who worship me come to me alone. That is why my devotees are no longer subject to birth and death. Whosoever offers me with a love, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even water, I appear in person before that selfless devotee of sinless mind and delightfully partake of that article offered by him with love. Arjun, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer as oblation to the sacred fire, whatever you bestow as a gift, whatever you do by way of penance, do that as an offering to me. With your mind thus established in the yoke of renunciation, offering of all actions to me, you will be freed from the bondage of action in the shape of good and evil results. Thus, freed from them, you will attain me. I am equally present in all beings. There is none hateful or dear to me. They, however, who devotedly worship me, abide in me, and I too stand revealed to them. Even if the vilest sinner worships me with exclusive devotion, he should be regarded a saint, for he has rightly resolved. He is positive in his belief that there is nothing like devoted worship of God. Speedily he becomes virtuous and attains abiding peace. Know it for certain, Arjun, that my devotee never suffers degradation. Arjun, women, Vaishya, members of the trading and agriculturist classes, Shudras, those belonging to the labor and artisan classes, as well as those of impious birth, such as the Pariah. Whoever they may be taking refuge in me, they too attain the supreme goal. How much more then if they be holy Brahmins and the royal sages devoted to me? Therefore, having obtained this joyless and transient human life, constantly worship me. Fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, worship me, and make obeisance to me. Thus, linking yourself with me and entirely depending on me, you shall come to me. Thus, in the Upanishad, sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the ninth chapter entitled The Yoga of Sovereign Science and Sovereign Secret. Chapter 10. Sri Bhagwan said, Arjun, hear once again my supreme word, which I shall speak to you who are so loving out of solicitude for your welfare. Neither gods nor the great sages know the secret of my birth, my appearance in human or other garb out of mere sport. For I am the prime cause in all respects of gods as well as of the great seers. He who knows me in reality as unborn and without beginning, and as the supreme Lord of the universe, he undiluted among men is purged of all sins. Reason, right knowledge, unclouded understanding, forbearance, veracity, control over the senses and mind, joy and sorrow, evolution and dissolution, fear and fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, contentment, austerity, charity, fame, and obloquy. These diverse traits of creatures emanate from me alone. The seven great seers, their four elders, Sanak and others, are the 40 and the 14 Manus or progenitors of mankind, such as Swambhu and his successor, who are all devoted to me, were born of my will, to whom all of these creatures belong. He who knows in reality the supreme divine glory and supernatural power of mine gets established in me through unfaltering devotion. Of this there is no doubt. I am the source of all creation, and everything in the world moves because of me. Knowing thus, the wise, full of devotion, constantly worships me. With their minds fixed on me and their lives surrendered to me, conversing and enlightening one another about my glories. My devotees ever remain content and take delight in me. On those ever united through meditation with me and worshipping me with love, I confer that yoga of wisdom through which they come to me. In order to bestow my compassion on them, I, dwelling in their hearts, dispel their darkness born of ignorance by the illuminating lamp of knowledge. Arjun said, you are the transcendental, eternal, the supreme abode, and the greatest purifier. All the seers speak of you as the eternal divine Purush, the primal deity, unborn and all pervading. Likewise, speak the celestial sage Narad, the sages Asit and Deval, and the great sage Vyas, and yourself to proclaim this to me. Krishna, I believe as true all that you tell me. Lord, neither demons nor gods are aware of your manifestations. O creator of beings, O ruler of creatures, God of gods, the Lord of the universe, O supreme Purush, you alone know what you are by yourself. Therefore, you alone can describe in full your divine glories, whereby you pervade all these worlds. O Master of Yoga, through what process of continuous meditation shall I know you? And in what particular forms, O Lord, are you to be meditated upon by me? Krishna, tell me once more in detail your power of yoga and your glory, for I know no satiety in hearing your nectar-like words. Sri Bhagwan said, Arjun, now I shall tell you my prominent divine glories, for there is no limit to my manifestations. Arjun, I am the universal self seated in the hearts of all beings. So I alone am the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings. I am Vishnu among the 12 sons of Aditi. and the radiant sun among the luminaries. I am the glow of the Maruts, the 49 wind gods, and the moon, the lord of the stars. Among the Vedas, I am the Samved. Among the gods, I am Indra. Among the organs of perception, that is senses, I am the mind, and I am the consciousness, life energy, in living beings. Among the 11 Rudras, gods of destruction, I am Shiva, and among the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of riches, Kubev. Among the 8 Vasus, I am the god of fire, and among the mountains, I am the Meru. Among the priests, Arjun, know me to be their chief, Brihaspati. Among warrior chiefs, I am Skand, the generalissimo of the gods. And among the reservoir of water, I am the ocean. Among the great seers, I am the Bhragu. Among words, I am the sacred syllable Om. Among sacrifices, I am the sacrifice of Jap, muttering of sacred formulas. And among the immovables, the Himalayas. Among all trees, I am the Aswat, the holy fig tree. Among the celestial sages, Narad. Among the Gandharvas, celestial musicians, Chitrarat. And among the Siddhas, I am the sage Kapil. Among horses, know me to be the celestial horse, Uchchashreva, begotten of the churning of the ocean, along with nectar. Among mighty elephants, Eravat, Indra's elephant, and among men, the king. Among weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the celestial cow Kamdhin, the cow of plenty. I am the sexual desire which leads to procreation, as enjoined by the scriptures. Among serpents, I am Basuki. So that completes 100 verses for Thursday. Jai Shri Krishna.